Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brains, Bibles, and Beyond, where we explore worldview apologetics and other things.
And other things. Lots of things.
This is my fourth favorite podcast. How favorite of it is yours?
my number one for grandma. So, yeah. Yeah, it's good.
So why don't you come alongside of us, grab your theological receptacle,
Yes.
and we'll get started.
Canvas neighborhood. Here we go. The brew.
So right after you get done liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting, we're going to get started on our first segment.
Oh, goody.
Stump the Theologian,
It's always a little scary.
starring Joel Willoughby and my favorite daughter, Elizabeth.
Yay!
All right, let me shake up.
All right, I'm ready. Kind of. Actually, the whole point is I'm not ready.
You're in here, but it sounds like a lot.
It's.
There.
I think
How do you know how many are in there?
you have been
I
counting.
print them, I type them, I wrote
Okay,
them.
now we're trying to show off.
Show off. All right.
Let's
Draw
do it.
one, read one.
I did everything. Why does God love us when we sin?
Ooh.
Why does God love us when we sin?
Does God love us when we sin?
Yeah, I feel like that could go a couple of
Or,
ways.
or does God love? Why does God love us even though we sin? Is that a better way of saying it?
I didn't know how to write that, so I just
Okay.
wrote it like this.
Sometimes when the people send the questions in, they're hard to read.
I'm just Googling the question. No, I'm just kidding.
We thought he had the answers. He just has the website gotquestions.com.
Right.
Or
Well,
.org.
GodQuestions.org.
It's
They
not
are
a bad
they are good.
website.
They're
It's not a
good.
bad website.
I do promote them for my. Anyways, back on track. Okay. So what was it again? When does or how did it go? Say it again. I got distracted.
Why does God love us
Even though we sin.
even
though we sin.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful.
some more than others?
Let's just stick
Oh, wait,
with
that
the.
part wasn't part of the
Let's stick with the
question.
question. What I like to do, you really need to show what the biblical standard of love is. So sometimes the question is confused because we have a more cultural understanding of love, and so like a Disney version of love, kind of a thing. And it's
So infatuation.
the fluffy stuff, you know,
Not that.
like Little Mermaid is sitting on the rocks, not speaking.
I think we're referring more to like the love of Jesus dying on the cross for me.
Yes. Well, I have First John
Real
4
love.
up. That's what I looked up.
Real
First John
love.
4. So the illustration I use to explain love, because you can say a lot of things, right? Is I'll cut it really short. So I'm talking with somebody. They order a fish dinner, and I say, "Why did you get the fish dinner?" And they say, "Oh man, I love fish." And then I disagree. This is the short version of the illustration, and I disagree and say, "No, if you loved fish, you wouldn't have it yanked out of the water and fried in oil." You see, that's kind of the punchline.
They love the taste of fried fish.
Well, what it is they love what the fish does for them. That's the idea. It's the taste buds. Hey, if she's talking, she needs that mic.
You have something to say?
Like,
you-
because it feeds, like, just keep it here.
Close sounds better, but feeds them. You said feeds them. So yeah, the taste buds. I love how it makes me feel. It tastes good. It feels good in the belly. It warms me. It feels for those that like the fish and everything. You know,
It makes
you
me
know.
throw up, so.
Oh, okay. Well, this is for those that love fish. But see, in English, we only have one word for love. And so that's a little confusing because it's like I love grandma, I love my wife, I love my child, I love my dog, I love hot dogs, right? Not the same thing there. But, there's all those different kinds of loves. I think that's why guys have trouble saying I love you to each other, even though biblically we are to love each other, right? And so we usually say, I love you, man. I love you, bro. Something like that. It takes the sting out of it. So because it's like you say, I love you to my wife, and then it's like, it seems awkward to us, but a biblical love. So the idea is this: love is sacrificial. It's a one-way street. Things like that. Yada yada yada. Okay. He loves us even though we sin because he actually loves us. That's the short answer right there. So it's that biblical standard of what love really is. And so then we think, well, the love of God is so vast. How could we ever really comprehend it? Well, we can't fully comprehend it. But in 1 John 4, what a wonderful thing here. He says, Beloved, let us love. This is starting in verse 7. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God, and whoever loves has been born of God and knows God. God is I mean, that's his very essence. We're getting to that. It's from him. That's how we even have love to begin with. Verse 8, anyone who does not love does not know God because, reasoning here, God is love. His very essence is who he is. So he can't help but love. In this, the love of God was made manifest among us. So how is it seen? It's always been there. But the pinnacle of it being seen by humanity is in this. In this, the love of God was made manifest among us, that God sent his only Son into the world so we might live through him. So in this, I'll continue, verse 10. And this is love, not that we have loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be the propitiation for our sins. So propitiation, fancy word, he made it all better. Jesus took the role of the high priest. He also offered himself as the sacrifice to the Father to actually satisfy his wrath, because we could never pay for it. So there could be forgiveness of sins. What a wonderful thing. It goes back to even Philippians 2. We've discussed that in the past. And just how he humbled himself to do this job. Why did he do it? You have Romans 12:2. It was the joy that was set before him that he endured the cross, despising the shame and all that. And it was the joy set before him, pleasing the Father. That was one thing. But I think the biggest thing was us, because he gets to have relationship with us forever through this act. I also think of another scripture here. My mind just blanked on it though. This is the downside of not being prepared. Romans 5:8, famous Romans 5:8. Now there's a whole lot of context around it, but yeah. So it starts in the middle of the sentence. Let's start in verse 6. For a while we were still weak, incapable. Right at the right time, God's timing, Christ died for the ungodly. For one will scarcely die for a righteous person, though perhaps for a good person one would dare even to die. Verse 8, here's a big difference between humanity and God. But God shows his love, where that's manifested, like 1 John 4 talked about. But God shows his love for us in that while we were still sinners, and there it is, right? Christ died for us while we were still sinners. Why does he do it? Because this is his very essence. Why does he do it? Because we reflect his image. Why does he do it? It's unexplainable, really. When it comes down to it, why does he love me?
I'll never know.
I feel like I'm very unlovable at the heart of it. The reason I'm doing any kind of good that I am and become lovable is because he created me a certain way and he works through me as well. Those two things. It's an amazing thing.
What do you think? Did that answer the question?
I don't know.
Just being stubborn.
You have a follow-up question?
Yeah, follow-up question?
It's still like, I don't know. I don't know what to think about it.
Yeah, that's good. Meditating
You need
on
to
it.
speak in words that I understand and that
Why does God love me even though I'm a sinner?
Because
that was
he loves.
the main question.
Yeah.
The forgiveness of sin
Because
is
he
by
wants to.
is by faith
Does
alone.
that answer it?
Because he wants to.
Yeah, he wants to.
Why would he want to?
Why do you like? What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Why?
Because it's pretty.
Why is it pretty?
I don't know.
Okay, it's the same line of
Because
reasoning.
you said you liked it.
So God created you on purpose, and
Why did you like you? I don't know.
There's love. There's love even just to make you exist. There's a measure of love there. It's an amazing thing. Now, there's no forgiveness of sins without faith in the ultimate sacrifice, Jesus Christ, right? So then there has to be that condemnation because he can't have any part with sin. But I think he still even loves those people. He created them. But he's just.
He sent his son.
Yes, right. He gave the option.
But why does he love us? I don't know if I know why.
That has to be tied in with his
Loves it.
creation. Like, why did he create, right?
Because he wanted to.
Yeah.
I thought
It pleases him. I think the ultimate answer is it brings him satisfaction, pleasure, and he is glorified through it. It seems kind of surface level, but that's really the answers.
At least that we can understand.
Correct.
Because, he's still God.
Yeah.
And I can't presume to understand why God would do certain things. But
Right.
So, I don't know. Does that answer the question? Or do we find another one that the answer is
What-
because God wanted to?
What about
I
this?
wanted to, yeah.
You have a pet?
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of pet do you have?
Bordoodle.
Okay, I'll pretend I didn't hear that. So do you love this pet?
No.
Is there a pet you have that you love?
She died.
Oh.
We
And
love her
and I and I remember I was there for the
Yeah.
I was there for that.
It was very
That
dramatic.
so what kind of pet was this?
A rabbit.
Okay, I don't want to stir up too many old feelings here. I'm just thinking because it shows you love that pet
Oh yeah.
very much. Why did you
Yeah.
love that pet?
Because she was so cute and cuddly, and she was adorable, and she loved me. We like.
Okay, I could go into that. We'll-
Oh yeah, she
I'll say
loved
that-
me. Oh, she loved that I gave
She
her
had
so
no
many treats.
emotion.
First sight. You love that rabbit at
No,
first sight.
she loved food, and you were the one who brought it.
Yeah, so she technically loves me because I brought
It's
her
true.
the
I
food.
wasn't going to dive into that too much. We already got over time, but it's an important concept. But it's kind of like there's just like I just love my children. Why do I love my children?
I hope you love your children.
But it's a thing, right? It's kind of the same answer. Is there really any reasoning? I mean, there's just part of me. They came from me, and that's with God and creation, right?
If you don't love your children, you're a scumbag.
Yeah, it's true. But we bear His image, in a sense, we're like Him. He created us. We came from Him, and we resemble Him in a certain aspect, certain amount, and I think it's just tied to that, even though it's still something I can't quite explain. Why do we love anything? It's interesting.
All right, so we have an answer. You'll need to think about it a little more, huh? All right.
There might be follow-up questions later. That's good.
All right.
Yeah.
If there's a follow-up question, we can add it back to the hat.
Yep.
All right.
That sounds good. You're
Moving on. Moving on.
Thank
See you later.
Thank you.
Drive safe. Watch out for deer.
I'll watch out for the 5-hour song. 5-second song.